they could have got on, you know, there's two accesses, is what they were telling me, that you could get on at Paramount, you know.
Yeah, and I'm like you, you know,
I don't
if you can pin somebody down to give you answers or at least talk to you, it's pretty easy to return a phone call.
He never would call back.
Right, and there's a problem with that. You know, that's where I have a problem. You know, I don't mind if somebody says, "Oh, I've just been swamped, I can't get to it," or whatever. But at least call back so I know we're in communication.
We put a lot of money in that road this year, and then that road's not that safe as a you know, we keep calling it a detour, but they're saying it's not. But that road's not that safe. There's some tight corners and brushes. It's not a road for a school bus to be going on.
Yeah, and the school bus
they're
does.
shoving it on there, and they've had problems with it.
Now, does the school bus go on it because it's a detour?
Yeah, because they got big kids up.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, they gotta run 2 buses, and then they couldn't budget for another bus.
Right.
They didn't have the money enough to do it, so now it's threw it back on, you know, them using that back road. That's just, it's a 1-lane road. You should go drive it. And
I've seen the Courier's, Tim's video of it.
Yeah, you need to drive it though. When you get on it, then just come up over one spot. I mean, if somebody's coming.
Yeah, and that's not a normal bus route. It's a bus route because of the detour.
Never has been.
Okay.
No, we put a lot of gravel and time and mag and trying to keep it up. The railroad was putting in new stuff this year, and so they really hit it hard, which that's, you know, the way it goes. But I mean, they had traffic on it, which if the road would have been open, they'd been driving the big trucks up and down the frontage or on the highway, on the state road, still our road.
And typically, I mean, have you had something like this happen before? Typically, does the state come in on a detour and give you maintenance money?
No, we've never got nothing. We've been promised stuff. Gail will stand right with me on this, right? This lady said, "Oh yeah, we'll help you out," and they tore our road to hell, and then they just said tough luck.
Yeah, I remember the detour one at Drummond when they brought him off the highway.
That's $1 million road that they were on. That's what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
I mean, it's sad. The states, I don't know.
Okay, and I think all I, you know, can do is just like you, is just continue to make phone calls and let people know until we get somebody that we feel we're getting answers from.
So Mark,
and I don't know who
you
that
serve
is.
on that committee with DOT?
Pardon me?
Are you on that committee, are you on the interim committee of DOT?
Yeah, of DOT.
Okay, so, I think you hit the nail right on the head, okay? So, they're not treating local government very well, okay? Now I'm gonna preface that. With the maintenance people, we have an excellent relationship, okay?
Right.
Our county guys and the state maintenance guys here are, so that's not them, okay? But time after time, when we deal with DOT, they blow us off, they don't call us back. And so our efforts, Commissioner Adler's efforts here, were to say, you know, I don't care what you call it, it's a damn detour. They're using it as, just because you put up a design, doesn't make it a detour, it's the only option they have. And they're like, yeah, we'll fine, have a nice day. Well, I expect, and I'm asking you, to go and raise some hell. The least they can do is call a county commissioner back.
Right.
Give us that respect.
Yeah, I agree.
If I get a call from a DOT or a state bureaucrat, I call them back.
Yeah.
But that's the history. You pick up a phone this phone right now, you call Department of Corrections, you call Fish and Game, you call DOT, and you will not talk to a person. You won't. It's a problem, and it's not specific to DOT. But let's go back to DOT. We have an issue. We said, look, put a detour sign up if you want to, but then help us maintain the damn road so it's at least safe for the folks. You know, and we have constituents that live in that area that are like, hey, what the heck, what are you guys doing? Well, the only thing we could think of doing was what Paul did, is work on that road, okay?
Right.
But it's not about that, it's about call us back.
Right,
You
so
tell
we
us
know
you
what's
can't
going
do
on.
it.
Yeah.
You know, tell us you don't have the money, tell us to talk to somebody else, because, you know, somebody needs to grab a hold of the director and say, your people are not responding to local government, because they're not.
Well, and I think, like you said, I've experienced that with other agencies too.
Yeah, but let's not put up with it.
Right.
No.
We elected you to say, hey, this is crap.
Yeah.
We don't get to see those guys, you do.
Well, it's kind of funny how they'll come up here on a slide, and they'll have it cleaned out in a day up at Georgetown. But yeah, we have a slide down there, it's kinda, well, it's not that big of a
Exactly.
deal.
Well, and I don't know who the commission board is from here, the commissioner, the highway commission board too. Cause it sounds like it's, from what we can do is put political pressure and say, something's broke. And it starts with communication.
Hey, call
And
us
so I'll
back.
find out who the commissioner is, go to them, start working from the top down,
We
and
appreciate it.
hopefully some cages can get rattled.
Our constituents expect us to know, and we go, okay, we'll look into it,
Yeah,
and they won't call us back.
right.
So
It's
how do
pretty
we
crappy.
face?
And
our
I
own
ran into the same
constituents?
thing, I had to leave message and finally somebody got back to me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I can't stand when I
That
get
guy
an
that-
answering machine and
That guy
press
that's
one
over-
or whatever, it's like, I wanna talk with somebody, I'm taking time out of my day
The guy
to
that
do
told
that.
Chad, he was really good, he got
Yeah.
right with me and said that they're gonna try to figure something out, and they had engineers, climbers out there.
Right.
They actually they were out there on a Sunday, I went down there just to see if he was BSing me, and they were actually there and climbing.
Good. Yeah,
That's the
so
stuff
his
we
name you
need.
wanna write down,
That's-
somebody that you can,
I wish
build a
I think-
relationship.
I think Gail knows his name.
yeah,
Is that Chad Pearson by chance?
No, he's one wouldn't call back,
Okay.
it's the other guy.
He's one I talked to, so.
Yeah, the other guy was really, really good. I got
Well,
his
that's-
thing wrote down somewhere.
I think that's something, if we find somebody that we can work with, and then track down the commissioner. I was talking to, I think, the, communications person out of the director's office, but it took all kinds of phone tag to finally get there, and then the response I got was that it was done when it wasn't, and that angers me more
That's
than anything.
interesting, yeah, it really is.
And it got done within a week or so after that, but
We never
don't
got
tell
it.
me it's done when it's not, cause that makes
We
me
never
look
got
stupid
it.
when I get old at Tim and say, yeah, they said it's done, no, it's not.
Well, that one guy that called me back said it won't be done until this weekend. The guy, the contractor was gonna work on it that
Yeah.
weekend, and he did. Hey, this other guy, God, I got his stuff wrote down, must be at home. He was
Yeah.
awesome. That Chad,
Well, maybe what I can do is get together with Paul or one of you guys and go out and look at it.
Absolutely.
Cause I have not, I haven't been down there, I had a conflict in Anaconda that night, you had the Bearmouth meeting. So I've seen Tim's Road, I've looked at it, or video, I've looked at it on a map and stuff, but,
Well, they've got a problem, nobody's kidding, this mountain's gonna continue to move, it's
Yeah.
not like this is gonna
that's
go
what Paul
away
just
tomorrow.
told me.
So, this is gonna on-go for a long time, so we need something, if they wanna designate that road as a detour, cause it is, then we're gonna come back and say, okay, great, help us maintain the thing so it's safe.
there's a lot of work to get it ready for a detour road, cause this is a one-lane road. It's not a pass, not really good for, and then there was log trucks on it, and
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't good.
It sounds like whenever it slides and becomes impassable, that they need to,
Yep.
get on that.
And
And
Mark,
we're willing to help them, it's not
Yeah,
like
we're
we're
not
not,
asking for everything.
Sure.
we're not asking for, but, call us back.
Yeah.
So what's your recommendation? If they don't call us back, we call the governor's, communication person and say,
Yeah.
what's your story?
Well, I think you guys have, us being elected, officials here, that's our job, is to rattle some cages when we're not getting the responses we
Okay.
need. Because we're the link to, the electorate and people, the constituents out there when they have a concern. Like you said, you expect that of me and they expect it of you, that's what we do, and we keep doing it until we can get some answers, and,
Well, the worst thing, we can't wait like we did.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we
nothing
gotta
drives
have-
me more crazy than
We have to have-
somebody not returning a phone call.
And
That's
it's
pretty,
state government wide, I just
Yeah.
got back from Mako, we talked to it about it
Did
in
ya?
every single, breakout session. Somebody had, they just can't get the information.
Yeah.
These people don't wanna talk to you. They do not wanna talk to you. And, so you call and talk to a machine and say, call me back, here's my number. Crickets. That's wrong. I know state government's done that. I worked for Governor Martz. She had the very first
Yeah.
problem, and she raised holy hell with every department head and said, when I call, there
Mhm.
will be somebody answering.
good,
It went good for a while, then, how it drops off. It's just
yeah,
the way it is.
yeah.
Well, the secretaries down there don't even know if they're in or not. They'll say, oh, I'll transfer you back there, I'm not sure if he's in or not. Well,
Yeah, it's a problem that needs to be addressed.
it's like, Holy shit, shouldn't you know whether he's working or not?
Yeah.
You know?
And, you know, that should be the case with anybody calling, you know. Somehow when, you know, as an elected representative or a county commissioner, you know, call me back. This is important enough, take time out of my time to call you. We, you know, something's going on, and I've had the same thing, same frustrations, at several different levels too.
Okay, well,
So that's the first thing we need to do, I think, is let people know that we need to improve communications.
so if they won't call a county commissioner back, I wonder what the poor citizen, they call
That's,
him,
that's
and
kind
he's
of what
got
I
a
was just trying to
question,
get
and
out,
he's
yeah,
trying to,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
That was the complaint when I
Messages.
first started covering, is that they would call and call and nobody would ever call them back.
Exactly.
exactly.
I was
Yeah.
really surprised, I talked to somebody that, you know, I called Helen and transferred me 3 times before I finally got to this Pearson guy. And he spent, you know, 5 minutes answering questions and told me they were gonna be out there next week and then weren't. And so, so I think how I got through to somebody on the first crack, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say too, a lot of the constituents up there, Mark, are really concerned about fire, ambulance access, and of course, if they have a medical emergency, they've either gotta take the Mullen Road, or they gotta go back to Drummond, which adds 40 minutes to the drive. You know, and that could be the difference in life and death if something's going on,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
you know.
And I appreciate you kind of bringing this to light, and, you know, that's where I found out about it, was on Facebook with Tim's, videos out there, and I'm sure you guys have done what you can do to call attention, but that's how I found out. But, yeah, that's the
Where do you
first
live?
thing. Pardon?
Where do you live?
No, just right up the hill.
So why don't you run down there and you can look, it's just take the bare
Paul will
mouth.
take you right
Yeah,
Should look, cause it's
Yeah,
gonna get worse now.
I'll do that. I'd like to go down there with Paul. And look at, you know, so he can tell me what he's done on the bypass or the detour or something. And if not, you know, maybe one of you 2 or 3 or whatever. Cause I don't wanna go down there and just look, or I could talk with Gail or even Tim, but I think it'd be better maybe if us, if
Can
one
you
of us
avoid
did
the
that.
old one of us too?
Yeah.
I live right there.
Yeah, and it's just, like Bill said, you know, when a citizen's calls, you know, I would expect an answer. Maybe it's overwhelming to them over there, but to have somebody answer the phone doesn't seem like too much. But, you know, when a county commissioner or a representative or senator calls,
Well, it's
you know,
just like.
we're doing it because we're hearing it, you know, and I pride myself, if any of you call me or anybody here, you know, I answer the phone.
Well, we appreciate that.
Some of them, you know, and then they come to the house there, and then you tell them, well, it's just like I told them, well, it's not on a road, because we had no answers for it.
Right.
It's a state.
And then they feel that you're passing the buck.
Yeah, exactly. But
Well,
I told
we're
them-
where the rubber hits the road, you know?
And I told
It
a
is.
couple of them, I
They
said, we
don't-
have no say,
Yeah.
we can say whatever, but it's their road until they figure it out. And we're
Yeah.
at
And we're the
stand-
ones they know, you know, they're gonna come and talk to us, and so we need to get answers, so. This is good, you know, I've been to a couple of your meetings over the past several years, but, it's good to build a relationship and, you know, get to know each other.
Need to rattle some chains though, because this has
Yeah,
gotten out of hand.
So Mark, if you wanna drag one of us big mouths along with you, I'll go.
okay,
If you wanna go to the subcommittee meeting, get on the agenda, and they wanna hear from some of us, we'll just tell them.
okay, what I found about the subcommittee, I thought, it was the first one that I'd gone to. We're tasked with such specific items that, you know, I was kinda waiting for a miscellaneous, but there wasn't, you know. So we have, you know,
Can we call the chairman and get on the agenda?
right, that's,
Okay.
or just meet with them separately.
Sure. Well, it's an issue, and if it's an issue for us, I'm telling you, it's an issue for everybody else that has a
Right.
detour or thing like this, and I think Tim's absolutely right, we worry about,
Safety.
safety. You know, our deputies have to roll, I mean, they go to calls there. and
Sure.
Their response time is bad enough, but it's way extended now,
Yeah.
right? So,
Okay.
When is the next that subcommittee meeting, do you know?
I think November.
Okay.
But I think it's a conference too, and that might be a good place to go.
I guess we could just make an appointment with the director.
That's probably the best way to do it. You know, after looking at the way the committee works, my assessment was that's not really the place to do it. It would be to sit down with the director,
Okay, well,
or sit down with a highway commissioner. You know, those commissioners are, I think, appointed throughout geographic regions, so, you know, I need to find out who ours is here and go talk with them. And maybe, you know, one of you three and myself sit down with that commissioner and the director. And, you know, if they're having these problems in other counties, well, it really doesn't matter. We're concerned with our county here. We're gonna take care of what, you know, concerns us. We aren't bringing the torch for everybody else, but we have issues here. And all we want is back and forth communication.
Exactly.
You know, that, hey, when I call, it's, oh, Sweeney's calling me, you know, what's
You
up?
know, if you got a,
Yeah, so a couple of comments. I have not had a hard time with those, with the, Montana
DOT?
Department. Yeah, they have, it may have taken a week, but they have called me back. Pat Metzger is kind of the Drummond area out of Butte that I talked to. It took him a good week
Yeah.
to call back, with it, so I haven't had that problem. And two, maybe it's just because I go down to their office.
Right.
And face to face them. And, the other thing that I would like to say, it's not only about the road that concerns me, Mark. It concerns me if that hill comes down where it's at, the river is right there. That could potentially dam that up. And then we have one heck of a mess. Because it is right there, and with that heavy snow that we just got, I mean, it's coming down, every day. We've seen that, so, I mean, I don't know, just because you haven't been out there, I can, you know, the river's right there.
Okay, yeah, and that's what Tim
And
said.
their comment to me when I spoke to them was that the reason they hadn't done anything since April was because we'd had so much rain and it had been so loose,
It's just gonna continue.
that little dry out period we had, it was like late July, early August, was like 2-3 weeks.
Summer, we call it.
That finally gave them an opportunity to do something.
Yeah.
You look at the snow we just got, it game on for that hill again, man. It's
Right.
gonna,
Right.
if it's gonna loosen up, that'll loosen it up.
And I suspect the whole slide problem is probably caused by them cutting and making the road in the first place, I would guess.
I still think though, they should get back with you before a week though, Gail, and, you know, I'm not trying to argue with you about that, but I'm just saying that's bullshit though. I called, and it took longer than a week. I guess, I mean, we have to know something, cause I mean, I got
You do.
people texting me and
Yeah.
calling me, and I mean, even a week, honest God, I try to get back with the person the next day, just to keep
Sure.
intact, and
Yep.
it's, that's.
And that's our jobs.
Mark, do you want
Yeah.
Pat's number?
Yep,
I'll write it down for you.
please.
Lynn?
Thank you, Elena Gagliano from Phillipsburg. I have a question. Since the sheriff has the highest authority in the county, and he and also the road superintendent, why aren't they getting involved in contacting somebody and declaring an emergency, and then something will get done?
I'm not sure. County Commissioner.
He was in, he talked to him, you know, you'd have to talk to Scott about that, I don't wanna speak for
Thank you.
him, but he did talk to him about it, they had some kind of, you need to talk to him about that.
To whom?
Scott, the sheriff?
Yeah, that's, he's the one that should have been contacted.
Well, he's aware of it, and he's.
And he should declare an emergency, and then he'll get something done.
Well, I don't know about that, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if the sheriff declares emergencies, the county commission does, but to me, it's a state issue.
Yeah, I mean, that's where it comes back, it's state, we're getting
Yeah.
through in there, but it's.
And the sheriff is the state. The sheriff is the state.
No, he's a county.
He's the county, but he's still under the state, as far as I know. I know you were a sheriff once, but They have the highest, just like when,
I'll be elected official just like a county commissioner.
He doesn't represent the
and
state.
so
I
is
don't
the,
represent the state at all,
That's highway patrol.
no, you represent the county.
right?
Okay, the sheriff, to my knowledge, just like he said, Sheriff Duncanson at that one meeting, he said if ever those red flag laws come in to Montana or Granite County, he will not enforce them. And he has that option.
Yeah, just to answer your question, he's been involved in this whole thing the whole time, and he's encouraged us to get a hold of the state of Montana to be able to answer you know, I'm sure he's getting the same questions we are.
I'm just saying it would probably hold more weight if he did. That's all I'm saying.
And maybe we should look into that, you know,
Sure.
what constitutes an emergency, how do we do that if that's, something if it rises to that level.
What we want
But as long as we're all on the same
we want
page,
them to call us back and maybe sit down and figure this
Yep.
out for our, you know,
Yeah.
they got a problem. They can't stop the mountain, we got that. But
Right,
they
right.
could talk to us about, the detour and work with us so that we
Yeah.
can do the very best we can with the problem. I mean, that's all we want, really.
Sure.
And that's all we've ever wanted.
Yep, well, let's work together, and it's
All right,
good
well, we
to,
appreciate you coming
yeah,
because.
it's good to meet and
we
talk
think-
about this. And
Yeah, but I
I'm
don't-
only a phone call away, so.
Yeah, and I don't think this is DOT, this is statewide.
If we
Pick
get
up the
along
phone
with
call anyway and try it.
I know it.
The guys that work around down there in Drummond, they're awesome.
They're great.
We work with them all the time.
Yeah.
It's the higher up.
Yeah, maintenance guys are just super.
And that's good to have that relationship, but we needed it at every level. Because if we're not getting the answers to our constituents, you know, I mean, we need to have information is all. You know, what do we tell the people that are asking, and how do we resolve it?
Well, if you think you wanna go see the director and you wanna drag somebody along so you're not the point of the spear, we'll go.
Okay,
Let us know.
get a hold of you, this problem doesn't sound like it's
Cause
gonna
this
go
is
away.
not going away, right?
Right.
It's not going away,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I appreciate it, good
Well,
seeing
thank
you
you.
folks.
thanks.
Yep.
Good to see you, Mark.
I'm just up the hill, stop by. And like I said, call me, I hope
Okay.
you all have my number, and if
Yep.
not, you can find it, so, good seeing ya. Bye-bye. See ya. Thanks.
Okay. This is the time set for the appointment of Granite County Planning Board member representing Upper Flint Creek area. We had, that advertised, what do we have on that, Mike?
We have two applications.